Ukraine is now producing 200,000 drones per month, the new reality of its war effort. Drone manufacturing in Ukraine has surged by 900% over the past year, reports Defense Express. Ukrainian forces have repeatedly struck Russian military, defense industry, and energy infrastructure in both occupied territories and inside Russia with drones. The ongoing air campaign is aimed at crippling Russian military logistics and its capacity to continue the war. Analytical centers, such as the Atlantic Council and Georgetown Security Studies Review, say that this rapid growth is only the first stage. The drone sector has become a key response to Russian aggression, with monthly output rising from 20,000 to over 200,000 units in just 1 year. To bolster its defense potential, Ukraine must establish long-term investment mechanisms and more actively protect its technologies with patents. Experts note that Ukraine currently files fewer patents for drone technologies than Russia or other countries, limiting its innovative defense industry prospects. Intellectual property protection, they say, is an integral part of national security. Although the study covers primarily 2022 to 2023 data, Defense Express confirms that the lack of long-term contracts and support mechanisms remains a pressing issue for many Ukrainian defense firms. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense has officially announced that the country plans to produce a total of 2.5 to 3 million military drones by 2025. Most of these drones will be FPV-type kamikaze devices and are designed to intensively strike Russian positions. Meanwhile, The Guardian notes that Kiev is not only increasing its drones, but also expanding local production of various combat technologies. By doing so, the Ukrainian army aims to strengthen its advantage on the front and block Russia's continuous attacks with a drone wall. Experts say that drone strikes on Russian positions are expected to intensify in the coming months. Putin has not yet found an effective response to this digital warfare model.
With Donald Trump finally admitting that Russia harbors ambitions beyond Ukraine, Estonia's defense ministry is bracing for what comes next, as military confrontation with Russia appears increasingly inevitable. At the recent NATO meeting in The Hague, after speaking with Zelensky, Trump openly stated that Putin's territorial goals stretch far beyond Ukraine. Euromaidan Press media outlet says, "These revelations expose Moscow's intent to destabilize its neighbors, with Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania emerging as primary targets due to their geographical vulnerability. Estonia's 183-mile border with Russia, especially near Narva, is well within reach of Russian artillery. NATO's Article 5, which mandates collective defense, faces a critical test as Russia escalates its rhetoric. Still, Moscow appears keen to avoid triggering it directly, instead opting for provocative actions masked as defensive responses. Estonia's defense minister, Hanno Pevkur, confirmed that Estonia is prepared to host F-35 multi-role stealth fighters as part of NATO's Baltic air policing mission. Euromaidan Press says, "These aircraft serve both as a deterrent and as protection for NATO airspace. Despite the F-35 not being assigned nuclear missions in Estonia, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called it an immediate threat, framing the deployment as reckless escalation." This narrative is being amplified by Russian media, which paints NATO as the aggressor, despite having its own nuclear forces already stationed within rapid striking distance of NATO's border, 15 to 20 minutes. No nuclear warheads are stored in Estonia, unlike some NATO sites in Germany or Turkey, underscoring that the deployment is strategic rather than escalatory. Nonetheless, Russia's messaging hints at pretext building for future military action. Estonia, along with Latvia, Lithuania, Poland and Finland, is fortifying the 3,450-kilometer border with Russia and Belarus, creating a modern Iron Curtain, Euromaidan Press says. This new Iron Curtain, supplemented by anti-personnel mines after these nations left the Ottawa Treaty banning them, aims to deter Russia by making any confrontation on the ground lengthy enough for NATO's larger militaries to arrive and help. Estonia alone has invested 5.2 million euros in defences near Narva, including 32 bunkers, anti-tank barriers and 12 ammunition depots. The dense forests and Lake Peipus add natural obstacles along the rest of the border. In June 2025, Estonia's Storm 25 exercises involved 6,000 Estonian troops and over 10,000 NATO allies, simulating defense operations against Russian advances. Euromaidan Press says, Lithuania's defense budget is set to reach 5.5% of GDP, signaling regional urgency. While Estonia's actions are defensive, Moscow's portrayal of them as provocations raises risks of escalation. The Baltic frontier is increasingly fortified and the stakes are high. Estonia's defense is on the line, and Moscow is watching. Ukrainian soldiers from the Rubak platoon of the 82nd Separate Airborne Assault Brigade showed spectacular footage of the liquidation of 2 Russian occupiers. They tried to penetrate the rear of the defense forces, hiding under an anti-drone tent. The video was published on the channel of the Ukrainian division. At night, the soldiers recorded an attempt by Russian soldiers to crawl up to the Ukrainian front lines. The occupiers tried to disguise themselves under an anti-drone tent, which, according to their calculations, would make them invisible to thermal imaging. In reality, everything turned out differently. Well, the main thing is that the suit fits. They thought about it and pulled on blankets that cannot be seen in a thermal imager. Hello? You were deceived again and sent to die. The promo code for death has already been activated. This is how the Ukrainian military commented on the situation. The video shows the drone operator first dropping the projectile, after which a flash occurs. The camouflage coating, contrary to the enemy's expectations, flashes along with the occupier underneath it. There's one that caught fire. We see that one star is burning. What about the second one? I think the second one is also a GG. We've done our job. We're going back. The fighters' radio conversations can be heard. Both Russian occupiers lost their lives. Recently, Russia's premier tank manufacturer, Uralvagonzavod, announced the dispatch of a fresh consignment of T-72B3M and T-90M main battle tanks to the Russian armed forces. The delivery, confirmed through the company's official Telegram channel, underscores Russia's ongoing efforts to modernize its armored fleet amid a challenging global economic landscape. While the exact number of tanks remains undisclosed, the shipment highlights the persistent role of these Soviet-era platforms in contemporary warfare, particularly in the context of evolving battlefield threats. The announcement, timed symbolically ahead of a major national holiday, signals both industrial resilience and a commitment to sustaining military capabilities. Uralvagonzavod emphasized that the tanks incorporate approximately 200 design changes implemented over the past 3 years to enhance firepower, protection and mobility. These upgrades include electronic warfare systems to counter drones, anti-drone netting, and rubber-reinforced armor shielding critical components like the turret rear and engine compartment. But despite this, Ukrainian drones destroy them.